Hello, good morning. I welcome you back to this lecture series on basic English grammar. It's been quite some time since I met you last. Apologies for the same. For today's lecture, we shall be covering helping verbs. Today's lecture shall be a brief session on helping verbs which shall help you in understanding tenses better, which will follow next. So let's begin. Helping verbs. Helping verbs help the main verb to describe the action. Now that action that they are helping to describe that can have happened in the past or is happening in the present or will happen in the future. So the verb is affected by the time and space in which the action is happening. So this determines the tense. This signifies the tense of the verb. So there are various helping verbs. Helping verbs are stative verbs. They denote some state of being, some state of existence, and they help the active verb, the action verb, in describing the action better. So there are various kinds of helping verbs: am, is, are, was. We will be doing one example of each to understand the usage of them. So helping verbs, also known as auxiliary verbs, are used with the main verb to help express the main verb's tense, the mood, or the voice. Voice, there are two voices, active voice and passive voice. In the active voice, we'll be doing them in detail in the sessions to come. So in the active voice, the doer of the action, that is the subject, is more important than the receiver, than the action itself. But in the passive voice, the action takes the precedence. The action is more important. So we took her to the hospital. So we, the doer of the action, is important. So we comes first. We took her to the hospital. This is active voice. When the action becomes important, action becomes more important. So she was taken to the hospital by us. The doer is now the secondary thing, is not more important. The action and the receiver is important. So then it's called the passive voice. So helping verbs will help the main verb to express the main verb's tense, that is past, present or future, the mood and the voice, the active voice and the passive voice. So the main helping verbs are to be, which means a state of existence, to have, which denotes a state of possession, and to do, which denotes some activity. So there are various forms of it. To be has various forms like am, is, are, was, were, being, been, will be. All of these are forms of to be. To have will have various forms like has, have, had, having, will have. All these are forms of the helping verb to have. Then to do will have various forms like does, do, did and will do. So let's now make sentences to understand the usage better. First, I am going to park for a walk. So main verb is to go. We are using the ing form of it, and I am talking about the first person I. So with first person I am using the helping verb am, and it helps in denoting the tense, that is the present continuous tense. Here if I use was, so I was going to park for a walk, then the tense will change. The main verb remains the same, to go. I am using the first person, I am talking about the first person, using it in the ing form, but the helping verb was will denote the past continuous tense, while am is denoting the present continuous tense. Second, she is doing her homework. So main verb is to do, used in an ing form. I am talking about third person singular, that is she or he. The helping verb used will be is. It will denote the tense, that is present continuous. Next, they are leading the league. So they, third person plural, the main verb is to lead, using it in the ing form. The helping verb that we will be using with third person plural will be are. Again, reminding you of the three persons that I am talking. First person, I am talking about myself or people or a group of people together. We, first person. First person singular is I and plural is we. Second person singular is you and plural again is you. Third person singular is he or she, the person you are talking about, or a group of people if you are talking about they. Okay? Next, She was arranging the party. So main verb is to arrange, used in the ing form. We are talking about third person singular, and the helping verb to be used here will be was. We were dancing when he came. So we were dancing. Something which was happening in the past was continuing in the past. So I'm talking about first person plural. I'm talking about the main verb to dance. So the helping verb here will be were. Likewise, she is being taken to the hospital. Now here I'm talking about the voice. They are taking her to the hospital. The doer of the action is more important. So it's the active voice. She is being taken to the hospital, although the tense remains the same, but the helping verb changes. So she is being taken to the hospital, again present continuous tense, but the passive form. The action is more important than the doer of the action. Next, I have been visiting Golden Temple every year. So something which is not in the moment happening but has been happening, it's present perfect continuous form, has been happening continuously over the years. So I have been visiting. I'm talking about first person singular. The main verb is to visit in the ing form. So helping verb in the present perfect continuous form will be have been. Next, I will be attending the conference. So I'm talking about first person singular. The main verb is to attend, and I'm talking about future. So the helping verb will be. She has worked here for 6 months. Again, the helping verb has will be used with third person singular to denote present perfect tense, something which has just completed. Here if I use she had worked here for 6 months, the helping verb is changed, but the main verb remains the same, but the tense changes. So she has worked here for 6 months, the helping verb is has, it denotes present perfect tense. She had worked here, it's something which completed in the past, so it's past perfect tense. I have broken my doll. Again, I'm talking about first person singular. I'm talking about the main verb to break, and the tense will be denoted by the helping verb have. Okay, she is driving her own car, we are driving our own car. Helping verbs are different with third person singular and first person plural. Likewise, she will have completed the course by the time you reach. She will have completed. So it's something in the future, but something which will have ended by the time I reach. So it's future but perfect, future perfect tense. So she does not belong here. Now coming to the helping verb to do, which denotes some activity. So with third person singular, I am using does. With second person singular, I am using do. With again third person singular in the past, I am using did. And with third person singular in the future, I am using will. So in the simple present tense, she does not belong here. Again, with second person, you do not belong here. She did not bring her laptop, denoting the simple past. She will do her homework, denoting the future. So the main verb remains the same, but the helping verb changes, and it helps me in denoting the tense of the main verb. That is when that main verb was happening, the time period when the main verb was happening, or the voice or the mood. Okay. So now we have one instance of a main verb to break. I'm trying using this main verb with different tenses, its usage, and the helping verb that will be used. You can take help from this example and use it with different main verbs. You change the main verb, find out which helping verbs are you using in which tense. Okay. Now there is another kind of helping verb which is called modal auxiliary verb. So these verbs are verbs which indicate some possibility, some plausibility. So modal auxiliary verbs are of various kinds: can, could, may, might, must, ought to, shall, should, likewise. So we'll just discuss in brief the usage of these verbs. Okay, so can or could. So can refers to some ability of a person, and could refers to a possibility. So can is in the present and could can denote something which is in the past. Okay, so I can do this means I have the ability, I have the capacity to do this. I could do this, so it refers to the possibility. Next, may or might. So first difference is that may denotes the permission. and might denotes a possibility. Second, may mostly is in the present form and might to denote the past form. So she may do this means she has the permission to do this. She might do it, that is, there is possibility that she could do it, she will not do it. So there is possibility of doing and not doing. Okay, next, must. So now must is a kind of modal auxiliary verb which is used mostly to give orders, to give someone an advice, to express an obligation. So it's used both in the present and future references but never in the past. So you must do it, something which is an order to you. Next, ought to. With the modal verb ought, you will always use to. So it becomes a kind of phrasal verb. So we use ought to when you are talking about things which are desired, which is desirable, or which is the idealistic thing to do. So you ought to do this. That is, it is desired out of you. It is ideal that you should do it. Shall or should. Now, shall is used in the formal writing and should in the informal writing. Should will be used to give some suggestion or an advice. Shall will be the future form and should is the past tense form. I shall do this, formal writing, but in the future. I should do this, matlab it's expected out of me. That means it is expected out of me. I should have done this, I should do this, something which is a suggestion, which is an advice. Next, will and would. Now will is used to denote something which is in the future tense and would is the past tense form of will. Now will again is a stronger option compared to would. I will do this, something which is very firm. I will be doing it. I would do this if I were you. So if I were in your place, so if I had been in your place, I would do this. Again, a possibility of the past. So that will be all for today. When I left you last, I left you with two words. One is illusion with an I and one is allusion beginning with an A. So illusion means something which is not real, which appears to be real but is not real. So my mother told me, advised me to live in the reality, not in a world of illusions, something which is not real. Harry Potter is a world of illusions. Second, allusion with an A. Allusion means to refer to something. So when my teacher was delivering her lecture, she kept alluding to great Indian epics. Do use these words in your everyday conversations. For today, I am again leaving you with two pairs of words. One is advise and advice with an S and C, and one is devise and device with an S and C. Do find out their meanings. Thank you.